All right, so we are in Matthew chapter 7. We're at the last portion. Well, there's 3 chapters on the Sermon on the Mount. Okay, verse 1. Oh man, seriously? Don't judge so that you won't be judged. What a way to start after all of that. Okay. Don't judge so that you won't be judged. For the way you judge others is how you will be judged. The measure with which you measure out will be used to measure to you. Why do you see? So if I just were to stop there, you'd be going, well, aren't there other places where we're supposed to? Doesn't Paul tell us to judge? Didn't Jesus say to judge? Yeah, he does. So it's in context. You always have to do it in context. Always in context. Always, always, always in context. Okay? So let's read on, because if we just stop there, we don't have a full picture. All right? Why do you see the splinter in your brother's eye, but not notice the log in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the splinter out of your eye, when you have the log in your own eye? Okay, look at this. Oh man, I can see clearly. I can see clearly. Right? Seriously? You know, when you have something in your eye irritating, things get a little blurry, don't they? A little watered, a little blurry, a little filtered, a little smaller. You don't see the whole whatever. He's not talking about not judging fruit. He's not talking about seeing your brother in sin and going to your brother, because we're commanded to do that. Those are all the same words, you know, like, oh, but you're judging. Yeah. But if I'm not supposed, it's the splinter. I got to take care of my own splinters. Now, and don't go for something imagined or based on what somebody else said. Let me finish this. How can you say to your brother, let me take the splinter out of your eye when you have a log in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye. Then you will see clearly so that you can remove the splinter from your brother's eye. He's not saying that your brother doesn't have a splinter, but, you know, dude, I've been beating you. I've been talking you and chasing you and telling you and showing you this. And you, instead of dealing with your stuff, you want to go tell everybody else how to do it.
Take care of their stuff.
Yeah. I can look back as a young mom. People couldn't wait to come to my house to tell me how to be a mom and what I should do. And I didn't have it in me at that time to tell them to go blow smoke out there or whatever. Yeah, or mwah.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, bless their heart. You know, if that works in your house, God bless you. But please don't tell me what works in my. You don't have a clue what goes on in my house. You're seeing, and from you're looking in your house, looking through a little window into my house. You don't see
The whole picture.
So, mind your own business. Busybody. Hypocrite. Take care of your house. All right. That's what it's talking about. Okay? It's not saying you don't, because we are told that if we see a brother in sin, but see, here's the difference. It's how you go, right? Are you going in love? Yeah. It's how you go. All right? Don't give to the dogs. Okay, I have to tell you. Last week for the first, it struck me as really funny. Don't call anybody a moron, but it's okay to call him a dog. Did I read it wrong? Okay, don't give to the dogs what is holy, and don't throw your pearls to the pigs. Remember we say don't cast your pearls before swine, before the pigs? If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and attack you. So there's wisdom. You know, sometimes wisdom keeps her little mouth shut. That's in Proverbs. Keep reading. You'll get there. Dogs. Caleb. How about Caleb, one of the 12 spies? Was he a dog? It literally means dog. But it also, in the Greek, has a metaphor of a man of impure mind or an impudent man. But let's go to, since these are Hebrews, and this is Yeshua, Hebrew of Hebrews, talking. Let's find out what the Hebrew means. Dog, literal. Contempt or abasement, or what? Yep. A male colt prostitute. That is the lowest of the lowest of the low that you can go. Okay? You read him, he talks about dogs being on the outside in Revelation as well. This is what they're referring to. See, we have to understand the language and the idioms of the day. Remember we talked about idioms last week? You've got to understand what he's talking. He's not talking about a dog. He's talking about the dogs. Read in Revelation, the dogs, the impure, the immoral, they're on the outside. Okay? This is what he's talking about. Don't cast you. So there's dogs out there, right? Literal, according to this meeting, but also in the Greek, impure, impudent, but literally this as well. Okay? Historically, right down here, it was a name given to male temple prostitutes in Deuteronomy. Okay? They're aware of this. He's doing a midrash on law. Is Deuteronomy in the law? It is. They know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about, not just pagans, but the lowest of the pagans, the most active of the pagans. Okay? That's what he's talking about. And Caleb's name means dog, but Caleb was there are good dogs. Not metaphorically and not speaking of ill. Okay? Context. Because Caleb was righteous. Caleb was a good spy. Caleb was rewarded. So to call him a dog, which is his name, you got to do it in context. Okay? So it's all about context. All about context. All right. So here, when he's saying, don't give to the dogs what is holy. Sometimes just keep your mouth shut. Share with another believer. Or sometimes don't share anything at all. Just hold it. Hide it in your heart. Okay? But if you cast good out, you've got to be discerning. Okay? Sometimes I am supposed to open my mouth and share a story to a pagan, to an unbeliever, because that's what they need to hear to draw them to Yeshua. But I have to be discerning, because if I do it to just they'll trample it down, and now what I walked through was just trampled on, and the pearl that I earned just got crushed. You see, that's what he's trying to say here. Okay, let's be discerning. Let's be wise.
Yeah. At work, we're having a conversation. It started about inflation and the economy is falling, that we're in the last days. Well, one of the guys, he's really very
Is he dogmatic about it?
Yeah.
Or very strong on it?
Yeah, you can't even say anything because he'll be like, well, it says this and this and that.
Oh,
And so,
legalistic.
Yep.
And there's another guy that he's barely learning, and me and him, we share, and he likes to talk to me a lot because I just don't shove it.
Right.
You're just you're calm, you don't cuss, you're just very cool about it. People give you attitude, you're just you just brush it off. And so he started talking about we're in the last days, and that, well, the scripture says this and that, and I was just like, okay. And then he brought up that, and then we're in the last days, and I don't know why it says in the scriptures about I was like, they're gonna be doing the trumpet, and it's like, before the trumpet, no one's gonna know the trumpet. I'd rather you're gonna be in the last days, and I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be resurrected.
Ooh.
Raptured.
And he's like, I don't know why. He was making kind of joking about the people that do. He was just saying all that, and then my other coworker looked at me, and I was just like, I said.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
And then later on, I told my coworker, I'm like, yeah, I was surprised you didn't say anything about. No, that's because,
Yes.
I don't want to throw my pearls.
Yes.
I don't want to just argue it
Right.
because he's so determined, and so it's not going to get us nowhere.
No.
And so I'm just going to be wasting my breath.
And that was wise.
And he's like, oh, later on we could talk about
Right.
it. And,
You know what? You can be thoroughly convinced of what you believe and you're wrong. Or you can have a teachable spirit. Now, when I know that I know that I know something, you can't move me. You can ask you can't move me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to use a club to beat somebody with it. You're not going to remember what have he's told me.
Your pearls
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good example.
It's just like, it's just.
Yep.
It's not. It's not
Nope.
gonna go nowhere.
Nope.
And so it was a good for him to see that because he was just like,
That's wisdom.
wow. Like,
Yeah. And don't be surprised. There's a lot who are going to say, Lord, Lord. Even the enemy masquerades as an angel of light. So we need to be discerning. Just because I had an interesting conversation 2 weeks ago with a young gal who's been turned off from church. She was raised in the church and now it's nothing to do with it. And I made a comment because God impressed me to make this comment. And I thought, this is really off the wall. Okay. I said, you can't hold God responsible for what men do. I said, pedophiles are drawn to church because we welcome them and say, oh, here, come work with the children's ministry instead of using discernment and wisdom and guarding our children. And man, I was like, I didn't know what I was like, okay. That was what I needed to say. And that's what opened the door. And man, did it open a door I never even expected. We need to be obedient. If he tells you to do something that sounds crazy, do it.
God likes crazy.
Yeah.
He likes crazy. He did create me. And I got rocks. Oh, don't worry, it's not just for you. Remember I said we're children too. Oh man. So again, certain things you'd be casting it before swine. So what all of that to say that the enemy's in the man's church. It's rampant, and we give him free reign. We gave him authority. So we need to be a lot more discerning and wise and protective of what he's given us and guarding. We're supposed to guard what he's given us. So we need to do that. So that's the splinter. And the dogs, right? Okay. So don't give to the dogs what is holy. Don't throw your pearls to the pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and then turn and attack you, which he would have done, right? He would have done. Keep asking and it will be given to you. Keep seeking and you will find. Is this for an unbeliever or a believer? Believer. This is for the believer, okay? This is for the one in the word. You got to open this. You got to get into this. For everyone who keeps asking, receives. See, the knocking has now been relegated to what? Asking. Okay, I still have this noise in my ear. Is it spiritual that I'm asking for? No. And sort of, kind of. It's very distracting. It's very annoying. Extremely distracting. Try to focus on something and you got all this noise going on in your head, So I'm going to keep asking and I'm going to receive it. Okay? It's going to come in his time when he thinks it's beautiful and right. Remember that gate beautiful? First time. They passed by that man. I'm sure Yeshua passed by him too. But it was Peter and John at the beautiful gate. The right time. For everyone who keeps asking receives. He who keeps seeking finds. Okay, for example, for you two, well, for all of us, but you two, for wisdom, right? For wisdom on how to raise your children. For unity, for you two to be united together, one heart, one mind. As parents, as husband and wife, to be united, to have understanding. To be creative in your discipline, right? But above all, wisdom, okay? And courage and strength. I pray that for you today. Do we all agree? We pray that for you today. For us to continue to be faithful till our end, right? To continue to be faithful, to be bold, to be wonderful examples for these. So for everyone who keeps asking receives, he who keeps seeking finds, and to him who keeps knocking the door will be opened. Is there anyone here, if his son asks him for a loaf of bread, is going to give him a rock? See, it says stone. It does. It says that. No, if you ask me for bread, am I going to give you a rock? No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm going to give you bread and probably some butter and
Maybe some
ask you if you
rock
want
hard
something. Or if he asks him for a fish, would he give him a snake? Oh, please don't. I'll have a heart failure.
Even you would eat a fish.
Or even I would eat a fish. I don't like fish. Even I'd eat a fish. So if you, listen to this, even though you are,
Bad.
what?
Bad.
Bad? Only God is good. Okay, does that mean you're a horrible person? No, it doesn't mean you're a horrible person. You can be a really good person, but you're still bad. Why? Because the heart is wicked. Because we want what we want. So make us want to be obedient. Make us want to have a good heart. See, it lines up with what we did with the kids today, right? All right. So if you, even though you are bad, know how to give children gifts that are good, how much more will your Father in heaven keep giving good things to those who keep what? Asking. Always treat others. Oh, what do you have on your papers?
Do to others as you would have them do to you.
Do to others what you would have them do to you. Oh, look at that. That's right where we are. It says, treat others as you would like them to treat you. That sums up the teaching of the Torah and the prophets. The end. We're done. What do we read when we do the Shema every morning? And love your neighbor as yourself. Act justly. Love chesed, mercy. Walk humbly. In all your ways, acknowledge him.
That's what I was thinking when that guy was talking to me. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
acting justly.
Yes.
He's not my enemy. And wherever he's going, it's just. And even my other coworkers said, "Man, he took that like smooth." And,
Yep.
Yeah, I've been through that already. So.
Yeah.
See, even
Don't
the
get
fool
ruffled.
is deemed wise if he keeps his mouth shut.
She's not saying you're not a fool, though. You're not a fool. That was wisdom.
always
That was
comes to
wisdom.
my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. Yeah. Bite your tongue and swallow the blood. Yes. Yeah, that's wisdom. That's wisdom. Because it's pointless.
Yeah.
It's pointless. It would serve no good point, no good thing. All right. So always treat others as you would like them to treat you. So even in that regard, casting your pearls before swine, treat them. You still treated him with respect, but you didn't engage. See, sometimes that means in modern day language, you don't engage. We don't always, it's not wise to engage all the time. Somebody, I may know, but nope, not going there.
There may come a time down the road when you'll be able to say something to him because you didn't this time.
Right.
You're saying he used to be a pastor?
Yeah, he's.
So you know he's going through some rough times because once you're a pastor, you're always a pastor. You should be anyway. Your calling is your calling. If you deviate from that, he's going through some rough times. You might be put there for his sake. God put you there. He puts us in different places we don't even know about. We can't see in the future. But people that in the ministry that walk away, they walk a rough life.
So there's a lot of things I have to comment on that.
Not all cold.
Not all of them are called.
Yeah.
Okay, not all of them are called. They're not. Okay, so that in and of itself is a problem. There are people who are in pulpits that have no business being there. But why are we surprised? The enemy masquerades as an angel of light. Then there are those, maybe they were called, but they submitted to laziness because they're letting someone tell them what this says. And if they're the pastor and the shepherd, they need to be turning this off. I don't listen to anybody else. If I'm going to teach, I need to know what he wants me to teach. I need to know what he says.
You don't want old manna.
I
old
can't-
wormy manna.
I mean, if I'm just going to reiterate what somebody else said, go watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Either I have the gift of teaching or I don't. And if I do, then I can be lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gifting can be taken away. It's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get there? Okay.
Use it or lose it.
And then what's the next verse? Go in through the narrow gate.
Mm-hmm.
For the gate that leads to destruction. Have you read Pilgrim's Progress? for the gate that leads, and you know he was in prison when he wrote that, right? Just so you understand, it wasn't like he was on some farm or some mountaintop in a wonderful setting that he could write a beautiful story. No, he was in the pits.
Mm-hmm.
Dungeon.
Not good food,
Was it
not
dungeon?
clean water, no sunlight,
Dirt.
cold,
Wet.
sickness.
Mm-hmm. Go
Go in through the narrow gate, for the gate that leads to destruction is wide, and the road broad, and many travel. Don't be going, wow, I don't under. It says don't be going, I don't understand. What? It says so. Broad and many are on it, so we shouldn't be surprised. Lord, I don't know you. All right. Beware of the false prophets goes right with it. They come to you wearing sheep's clothing. What did I just say? What did you just, I'm glad you said that. See, there are people in positions in Christendom that have no business being there. They don't belong there. And we don't have the guts and the courage to call them. And we need to. But then we might be judging. Do you have a splinter in your eye? ABBA? Nail it. You still tell truth.
That's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to be discerning. When are you supposed to say something? When are you not? You need to be discerning. But it boils down to the matter of the heart. Now, if someone is teaching something to a bunch of people and it's incorrect, I need to have the boldness to correct it. Because why? Because they're leading you to hell. And I'm right here and I can tell you, no, that's wrong. Otherwise, your blood's on me. I don't want to go to heaven with blood on my head and hands and feet and body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've done that. Most of the time they don't listen to you.
No, but I'm clean.
Clean at that.
But I'm clean. Their blood isn't on me. Okay? Yeah, you're going to be blessed are you and men. Let's change. Let me use my own words here.
Yeah.
Call you crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that reviling you?
Mm-hmm. We're gonna revile you too in a minute.
Yes. Crazy. Okay, I've been called crazy many times. You know what? I will wear that label with pride.
I embrace your craziness.
People call me crazy and I just want to laugh like, oh, God must be doing something good. I must be doing something right. Way to go, ABBA. Not weird, okay? Yes, set apart, okay?
Peculiar.
Peculiar. That's just crazy. Thank God. So beware of the false prophets. They come to you wearing sheep's clothing. Even the but underneath they are hungry wolves. What are they there? Oh, the enemy. To steal, kill, to devour, to destroy. You will recognize them by their fruit. That sounds like a judge of character or fruit, doesn't it? When you look, you inspect it. What's an inspect? You're judging. You're inspecting it. Okay, so you see what I'm saying in context. In context. Okay. You will recognize them by their fruit. Can people pick grapes from thorn bushes? You know, I've got a rose bush over here and grapes over here. Can I get grapes off of my rose bush?
Nope.
Are you sure? Can you, or figs from thistles? I got a fig tree too. I'm sure there's some thistle out there somewhere. Likewise, every healthy tree produces good fruit. Abba, make us healthy trees, planted by the river stream of water of your life. But a poor tree produces what? It's rotten. It's just rotten. You know, it's either good or it's not, right? Okay. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit. You know, there's hope in there. If I'm a healthy tree, even if my humanness steps in the way, God's going to take it and make it right. In all my ways acknowledge me, he will direct. If I'm a human being, I'm going to make flaws. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say the wrong word. I'm going to irritate somebody. But I'm still going to produce good fruit. Okay? Don't strive. I mean, people say, well, if I don't do it right, I'm not going to do it at all. Do your best. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. And I should do my absolute best and strive to do it right. But I'm not going to do it for fear that I'm going to do it wrong. Did you understand what I said? You're not going to not do it for fear of doing it wrong. If you acknowledge him, he's going to direct you. He will give you the words. It may seem wrong. It may seem insignificant. It's human. I'm human. But I'm going to produce good fruit if I'm a healthy tree. But a poor tree produces bad fruit. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, or a poor tree good fruit. Any tree, here it comes. You thought the stones and the rocks were bad? Listen to this one. Any tree that does not produce good fruit is cut down and thrown in the what? Is there any coming back from fire? Not if you're a tree. If you're gold and silver, maybe, but not if you're a tree. So you will recognize them what? By their fruit. Not everyone who says to me, oh, here we are, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Only those who do what?
My Father in heaven wants.
What my Father in heaven wants. What does our Father in heaven want? Obedience. What else? Act justly. Love mercy. Walk humbly. In all ways, in all things. Acknowledge him. Wow. It's easy. Some days are hard. And we do it in spite of it. Some days are hard. We're human beings. We live in a fallen world. Some days are hard. But his yoke is easy. Okay?
Yep.
All right. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name? Didn't we expel demons in your name? That one just blows me away. Didn't we expel demons in your name? Didn't they accuse him of expelling demons because he was of demons? And he goes, a house divided can't. Many, but we expelled demons in your name. You might have quieted them up because they would like the illusion or whatever. But wow. Didn't we perform miracles in your name? Well, there is power in that name, isn't there? And then I will tell them to their faces, but I never knew you. Oh, please don't stand in there. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear I never knew you. Here's a surefire way to make sure he knows you. Know him.
It's like Judas.
Yeah. Did he know him? Yeah, Judas. He walked with him. He went out. He was part of he was blessed him. They went out 2 by 2s, right? They went out and he was one of them.
And he probably did perform miracles in Yeshua's name and expel demons in Yeshua's name because he was one of they did go out.
Yeah.
So Satan can get to Judas after he went through all that with Jesus. Satan can get to just about anybody if you're not.
But here's the thing. Satan didn't get to him first. His selfishness got to him. He opened the door. Satan can't come get you. Satan cannot have you unless you give him authority, unless you give him an open door. Your adversary has no authority over you unless you give it to him. Okay? Judas gave it to him.
It came in his mind first, I would think.
Probably through greed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, oh yeah, the battle's right here.
Yeah.
Always.
The battle is here. This is the battle. It's always here.
So he didn't renew his mind.
Right? What does that say to us? How about, okay, here we go. How about cheap grace? I don't believe in cheap grace. Once saved, always saved. I don't believe once saved, always saved. I'm sorry. Show me. Show me.
I heard that so many times.
Show me. His grace is free. His salvation is free. It is a gift to me. It's my choice whether I act on it. There's a scripture that says it's the end of a man's life that matters. Does he not say, a righteous man all his life and he sins, he's going to die in his sin, he sinned. An evil man, evils all his life, and in the end he repents, I save him. What?
That's what happened to the two men on the cross beside Jesus.
Yes,
You know, but it breaks your heart.
it does.
I mean,
Well, even
I
Judas.
think of like Ravi Zacharias. I mean, that's heartbreaking to me.
See, and mine is Joshua Harris.
Yeah.
I crushed, it was crushing. It was so crushing. And right now, they're not on the right path.
Yeah. But to live your whole life serving the Lord and then just, I mean, it just, wow.
Oh, Moses, my faithful servant,
Yeah.
walked through,
Mm-hmm.
led, but I told you to speak to the rock.
Yeah.
You can't enter. It's a picture for us. So every day matters. Your everyday choice matters. If you choose today, nope, I'm going to deny him. Nope, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to do my own way. I'm going to live my life. And you walk out and get hit by a car, that
Okay. End of story.
likewise, at the end of your life, hanging on a cross, I believe. Okay. Man lying in a coma. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt the man lying in a coma is his. Why? Because after 3 days, I finally got to go in. And when I shared with him about Yeshua, he opened his eyes, he smiled, closed his eyes, and a tear ran down his cheek. That was 3 signs. I don't care how you... Nobody else saw him open his eyes. Nobody else saw him smile. Nobody else saw a cry or a tear. Everybody else said, no, he hasn't opened. He hasn't moved. He hasn't done nothing. He doesn't react when we talk to him. Okay. Tell me otherwise. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out. It's the end of a man's life. Okay. Then I will tell them to their faces, I never knew you. Get away from me, you workers of... What? Oh, you broke the speed limit, right? I'm sure that's what it means. Oh, you stole from the government. You cheated on your taxes. Right? No. No. Lawlessness. Law. God's law. It's the same in the New Testament as the Old Testament. It's the same in Revelation. It talks about the lawless. It talks about, the times of Revelation. And many are removed from what? Torah. Law. So everyone, this is his final words, who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a sensible man who built his house on bedrock. It's a firm foundation. Are you built on a firm foundation? The rain fell, the rivers flooded, the winds blew and beat against that house, but it didn't collapse because his foundation was on a rock, on the rock, on rock. Who's my rock?
Yeshua.
you might lose a few shingles. The roof might leak. The window might crack from a branch. The paint might chip and you might need to paint it.
A tree in the front yard might tip over.
A tree in the front yard might tip over. You might get a hole in the roof and have to replace the ceiling. But the house is going to stand. Because it's built on a firm. And you know what? Maybe some of my shingles, now I'm talking about me, right? Maybe some of my shingles need to fall off. Maybe I needed a leak because I needed, that's in my heart. Right? Maybe I need new paint. Oh, well, you're looking a little tarnished there, kid. Okay? Storms have a way of cleansing, purifying.
Blowing away the bad stuff.
Blowing away the bad stuff. But it didn't collapse because its foundation was on rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not what? Act on them. Act justly. Will be like a stupid man. Well, at least he didn't call him a moron. Who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the rivers flooded, the wind blew and beat against that house and it collapsed. And its collapse was what? Horrendous. Wait a minute. Stupid. Moron. I wonder. Did he really say? Let's find out. Oops! He actually called him a moron.
Oh.
You can interpret that word with more than just the word foolish or moron. That's the root word, Greek, moros. Moron. He's like a fool. He's like a moron.
I was just thinking, stupid, moronic fool.
Yeah. They all work.
Yep.
So I guess maybe you better be careful before you say something. You're stupid. Don't call him stupid. That was stupid. That was a dumb idea. But, be really careful. He did. He called him a moron. And does not act on them will be like a moron, a stupid, a fool. A man who built his house on sand, and the rain fell, and the rivers flooded and blew and beat against the house, and it collapsed, and its collapse was horrendous. When Yeshua had finished these things, the crowds were amazed at the way he taught, for he was not instructing them like their Torah teachers, but as one who had what? Authority. And I've said this, and I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to stand on it. It took 2,000 years for them to pervert the law. And in 2,000 years, we've perverted grace. Law is truth. Grace is grace. Let's mix grace and truth. We have to worship him in grace, spirit and truth. Grace and truth. We have to. Okay? For he was not instructing them like their Torah teachers, but as one who had authority himself. Boy, howdy, didn't he though? Why? Because his human heart submitted. His human heart obeyed. May Adonai Hashem, the eternal existing one, Father and Creator of all, giver of life, giver of death, give you all wisdom and understanding and discernment. May he adore you. May he guard you and watch over you and keep you. May he treasure you. And may the light of his presence shine upon you. May he forgive all of your offenses and give you unmerited adoration, favor, mercy, and consideration. And may he give you and ordain and establish, determine and fix complete soundness, safety, quiet, tranquility, contentment, and friendship. V'yirachaka Adonai v'yishmeraka Yair Adonai panav elecha vihunecha Yisai Adonai panav alecha v'yishlem ha-shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.